Hello, how are you
Hi.
today?
I'm good. How are you?
I am good,
Good.
and I am so in love with your film. It is so beautiful, and I felt so many different emotions watching it. So congratulations, a beautiful piece of work.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
What I would love to know is deciding to tell such a personal story. Was that daunting? Was it exciting? Was it a bit of both?
Well, I think that it is just always exciting when you're embarking in on a project where you really believe in, and then you really think that it is a story worth telling. And I think that, of course, that enthusiasm sometimes is a kind of a it's like a sunrise. It's something that grows over time. I think at first I wasn't sure if people would be so interested in something that feels like really ordinary people going through something extraordinary, and the sort of the way that ordinary lives are quite epic, and how some ordinary lives can really span, decades and continents. And I think that there was some question of like, I wonder if there's an audience who wants to connect to a story like this. At first, and I think that over time that I've learned that okay, I think that it is maybe going to be a great story, and people are going to want to come engage with it. Oh, I can't hear you for a sec.
Right.
That's all right.
Without a doubt, people will, because really, it is just beautiful. Talk to me about casting Greta. How do you cast somebody to essentially be you? But also, do you give notes and say that's not how I would have done that, or did you give her free reign to create Nora?
The project is not to, the thing is, it's like we're trying to create characters with all my actors, and I think that it is very much about finding the character the way that you find characters with any actor through any project. So it was always a conversation about like, okay, well, how are we going to connect to Nora? What is Nora going through? And it really was an amazing collaboration that I was having with Greta.
The one of that bar scene at the start is it must have been so surreal to be in that in the first place, but then to recreate it. But I love that it felt like, and obviously theatre is such a big part of your life, that it almost felt like an immersive piece of theatre, that the audience had become part of it. Is that what you were trying to achieve and kind of connect your theatre with your film lives together?
Well, I think so, because I feel like breaking of the fourth wall is very much a theatrical thing. And I think that something that I really wanted for that moment is I wanted the audience to feel very implicated and feel like they were a detective in this mystery. And the mystery of the film is, it's not a murder mystery, but it is a mystery of who these people are to each other. And I think that I really wanted to cast the audience so that, they really feel interested and curious about who these people are to each other, the way maybe a detective might be. So I think that's why I wanted to break the fourth wall and make eye contact with the audience.
It's a wonderful moment. I work in theatre and film are so vastly different mediums. There's obviously similarities, but it's a different animal. So how was that transition for you? How did you find working in the world of film?
Well, I actually found that because a theater at the end of the day is, story, character, dialogue, blocking, and, things like that. And of course, it's so is the job for the director, on set, on a film set as well. So I think that to me, actually, that transition was really wonderfully very smooth, because I could really bring my experience and skills in story and character and things like that right over to film, and it kind of it really worked there, and it really was something that I could just work through. And I think that to me, I learned how to be a filmmaker through this movie, and that's very special.
It's mad that your first film is so good, but also getting such acclaim already. Is that something that makes you nervous to think, wow, my first film and everybody is raving about it, or is it something that you take on board?
Well, I think that, I think what I'm always excited about any time that somebody is saying a wonderful things and people tell me that they connect to the story in whatever way, it's always that, this is an independent film and it really does need audiences to come and really tell each other and really encourage others to come. And I think that any kind of a positive thing, any kind of a positive conversation about it is just nothing but a really wonderful thing. And I think that it's like, when it comes to it being my first film, it's like I know that I'm going to make movies for the rest of my life. So I think it's just only a really exciting thing that I get to do, which is, share my very first film with the world.
This is what you do on your first outing. I cannot wait to see what you do next. But tell me this. Obviously, theatre has so much rehearsal time, but in this, is it true that you decided to keep, in particular, Teo Yoo and John apart? Talk to me about that decision.
Well, I think that, I think a part of, doing rehearsals for theater is that theater has a very different kind of rhythm because it is about doing the show every night for weeks and weeks and weeks. That's really the end goal. So to me, theater is so much about the consistency of doing the whole entire bit of storytelling over and over and over again. When it comes to film, it really is about the magic of the moment and the magic of what you're able to capture for each moment. So I think that really was why I was interested in, keeping Arthur and Hae Sung apart, the actors John and Teo. And I kept them apart because, first of all, I wanted them to develop a chemistry with Greta Lee, who plays Nora, away from each other, so that they weren't going to talk to each other or really try to compare their own chemistry with her, because she needed to really build a separate world with these two guys. And then, of course, the other part of it was that the guys were then starting to develop an idea of each other. Right, they start to imagine and assume and make some kind of a figure in their minds about what the other guy is like. And of course, it is so magical when we're able to see those two worlds and those two ideas about each other collapse. And it's a little bit of an explosion, that is happening in that scene when they first meet for the first time. So it required a bit of a lot of work from the AD department and for the whole production to keep two actors, two principal actors apart. But I really do think that it resulted in something really magical, which is that moment when Hae Sung and Arthur meet each other for the first time.
On the thing of first meetings, when Nora and Hae Sung reunite, one of the things that struck me is in that moment, there's such an innocence there. They both feel like it's the 12-year-olds are meeting, but they just happen to now be in these adult bodies. And I just thought that was really gorgeous. How did you work with them to kind of recreate that, yet basically letting their inner child be free again?
Well, I think that it, of course, starts with casting, because both of those actors have this amazing quality where they themselves have a bit of contradiction in them, where they really, when you meet them, of course, they seem like such professional adults, kind of very grown people, and they're, they were in their late 30s when I met them, or over 40 or something like that, and they were really put together adults. And then, of course, I think that when they smile or when they joke or when they make when they laugh about something, they suddenly look like kids. So I think that it really had it in their souls, the contradiction of the little kid that we have inside of all of us, and also the adult. And I think that really was that's really the magical thing of it. And I think, and then on top of that, I think something that we really wanted was that, for example, Greta asked me if if I wanted her to improve her Korean. Because she sounds beautifully like a kid when she speaks in Korean. And I remember in our first conversation really saying, it's like, no, I think that Nora should speak Korean like a kid, because that just makes sense for the character and for the story that we're trying to tell, which is that with each other, they're children.
Really love your take on masculinity. Arthur does not start throwing his weight around, and you know how we'd often see a man respond to something like this. But also that lovely line about how Hae Sung is masculine in a Korean way, and I just loved it. It's such a different way to see masculinity portrayed on screen, and that's not what we're used to. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that I can really only try to depict masculinity as I understand it and as I love it. And I think that, you know, I think sometimes masculinity feels like it's something that is going to be a little bit of an external expression, or like a bit of a show of something. And it usually means a show of strength. But I think that there is a tremendous amount of show of strength in these characters, in these two characters in the movie, Arthur and Hae Sung, because, you know, the strength that they feel is that they have the strength to keep their own you know, insecurities and needs and whatever, every other kind of feeling, or you know, things like that aside, so that the person that they care about, Nora, can have her experience. And I think that part of it is about in the restraint. And I think that to me is what I really love of masculinity. You know, being able to put yourself aside and being able to make room for the person that they love. And I think that really, that's the kind of masculinity that I really connect to. Yeah.
It's so lovely to see it. It's so lovely to see something different portrayed on screen.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I've really enjoyed the interview. I love the film. And can I just say, that ending stayed with me for so long, and I'm still thinking about it. So congratulations.
Thank you so much for a great conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.